Let me coloring you radical. Talk about the end of a fucking era. Phil Donahue's died. Boy, did he stand up to the fucking liars. So-called MSNBC, they are left media. Remember when the left used to be the party of peace, of environment, of working class? It's when it happened, 2003. He stood up against the fucking Iraq lying fuckers. He died today. You know, you think about the people that came after him, the pioneer. Well, they weren't fucking peace. Oprah Winfrey, fucking go talk to him about why, how much they like her. Like she's building an orphanage in Africa while she steps over the dead bodies in Chicago, where she's from. It's disturbing. He stood up to the war machine. He was right the whole fucking time. Who destroyed America? James Carville. His pink, it fucking stinks. David Axelrod. Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I mean, you think about it, the 2000 election. If Bush didn't win, I got news for you. Wasn't her name Harris? There's a Harris in Chicago tonight. What if they're going to beat up fucking, what real journalists will beat up on the House floor? They fired Dan Rather at the same time as they fired fucking Phil Donahue for calling George W. Bush a draft dodger when he was at Georgia. What happened? The imperialists took over the media. And the dumb sheep fucking couldn't realize that Operation Foxconn News, credibility not needed, Zucker was running it. Trump's buddy. The dumb sheep couldn't fucking realize they're being had. Iraq's one of the greatest fucking, well, it's right there with Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Pop, what we did, they've done it. Nobody from Iraq laid a hair on anybody here. How many people lost their lives here? Committed suicide or was killed? 2 million over there. I think it's one of the, could be the most evil atrocity in the history of the fucking, I will quote Hoover. Never in the history of mankind has any war machine, has any military indiscretionally mass murdered women and children. Till now. April 7th, 1945. They never stopped. Wolfowitz, Bremer, fucking Cheney, the fucking media lying fucking freaks, what they did. I can't understand why there's not giant class action lawsuits against MSNBC, against CNN, against Operation Foxconn News. Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass when they full well knew he didn't. Colin Powell fucking, that's called with malice what the fucking media. New York Times, fuck, they're the most guilty of them all. Washington, that's, people somehow thought that's kind of left media. Phil Donahue stood up to him. Married to the beautiful, incredible Marlo Thomas. He passed away today. Holy Moses. 88. He stood up to the fucking machine clear back then, 500 years ago, right now, didn't he? Michelangelo. He died at 88. He was right the whole time, too. Very fucking sad what's happened. This fucking century, this quarter century of fucking imperialists took over our country. Pop, will all be dropped. They never stop. Don't you cross that parallel to North Korean to hell, not to Vietnam to kill the Viet Cong. Kissinger in Cambodia, Kissinger in Cambodia, Kissinger in Cambodia. Hell no, we won't go. We fought back. Give peace a chance. We burned our draft cards. Just fuck you. We're not kissing these fucking oligarchs. Now, who killed Bobby Kennedy? Saran. Now, why? Where was he from? Whoa. Did he have help? I don't know. Peace, prosperity. 70s was so beautiful in this fucking country. So incredible. The art, the culture. Just Google around and see what people look like. The great socialist country from 1946 to 1979. Increasing nominal wages, tax rate on the billionaire gazillionaires. 99%. We wouldn't allow it. We fought back. We stood up. And Rand Greenspan comes around. And then fucking, I did not in hell. I didn't remember in the 90s. We got to get our fiscal house in order. The debt's approaching $4 trillion. Clinton goes to the GOP and says, we've got to lower the dang, we've got to cut military spending. What? GOP said, okay. And they did it. Of course, lurking in the woods was that scumbag, James Carville. James Carville destroyed the fucking Democratic Party. Him and Axelrod and fucking... Remember? They gave us fucking who? Obama, who won a Nobel Prize. He was a peace... I don't think so. Remember, that was on the backs of all the work that people like Phil Donahue did. How'd he win a Nobel Peace Prize? He drove more people. Fuck, that's the biggest con man that ever fucking was. The gift that keeps on giving, 9/11, they were Saudi imperialists. Donahue knew it. I knew it. I fought so hard. That's how I got these scars across my face. Huh. Boy, we fought in those days. Look what we're up against. Went off to Iraq to Dick Cheney, Wolfowitz, and Bremer, a big old sack. Went off to Vietnam to kill the Viet Cong. Don't cross that parallel, turn North Korea into hell. Pop, pop, OAPI dropped. Pop, pop, OAPI dropped. Don't you cross that parallel, turn North Korea into a kitchen to call hell. Fucking went off to Vietnam to kill the Viet Cong. Kissinger, Cambodia. Kissinger, Cambodia. Hell no, we won't go. Hell no. Give peace a chance. Peace, prosperity, then the gift that keeps on giving. 9/11. They're Saudis. So we go off to Iraq and slaughter 2 million people, never laid a finger. Phil Donahue knew it. He went fucking crazy. MSNBC, supposedly left media, he's dead. Democratic Convention opens in Chicago. And when they beat up Dan Rather on the fucking House floor, the same time they fired Dan Rather for calling George W. Bush a draft dodger, when George W. Bush was a draft dodger. Huh. Of course, he went bootlicking after that, too. He went on Letterman or one of them. He stayed true. And they blackballed the fuck out of him, his career. But at least he's got something the rest of you bootlickers will never have. Oh, he's got peace of mind. And in the end, oh, it matters. He stood and he was right, and he was right the whole time. My friend, died daily in high schools. I was too wild for her, and she married a goody-goody two-shoe fucking return missionary. Her son was one of the first ones killed here in Utah, in Iraq. She called me. She knew the peace activist I was. She called me on the phone. Wanted to talk to me. I says, answer me this. She says, well, I know your dad. Fuck. He went, didn't he? Yeah, he got nuked in the Nevada test site. Everybody knows my Uncle Clyde. My Uncle Harold right here, Omaha Beach, D-Day, Battle of the Bulge. I says, tell me this. Did that hairsprayed fucking piece of shit wrap yourself up in the flag, Fox News waving fucking punk? I told you not to marry him. He's a fraud. Yeah, I know. Wish I wouldn't have. Did he ever go? Was he ever in the military? No. Was his father? No, he was a Dodge drafter in fucking World War II. Fucking got a farm, fucking firma right here. None of them ever bled, did they? Neither did any of the Iraq-Afghanistan machine. None of them. Not Wolfowitz, not Bremer, not Cheney, not none of them. Not Bush, not none of them. But they sent everybody else to fucking die. Not Colin, that fucking liar, Colin Powell. At least he has peace of mind. No Iraqi laid a fucking hair on any American ever. Nobody in Afghanistan laid a hair on anyone. I want to tell everybody. So I gave her the book, East of Eden. I says, at least read the fucking last couple pages. I told her, just remember, TIMSHEL. It's out of the Old Testament. That means thou mayest. Men are responsible for their actions. She says, no. He was 18 years old. She called me after she read the book, and she says, no, Lee was wrong. He was 18. We led him down that path. We let him down. My buddy Mark's son, he went. Incredible football player. Family gung-ho, Fox News lies. He's one of the 22 a day, one of the early ones. He committed suicide. When these guys commit suicide, it kills their mom. It kills their dad slowly, ugly. Both of them are drinking themselves to death. It kills their brothers. It kills their sisters. It kills their children. It kills their wives. How many people died because of that fucking lie? And what kills me about it, where are the class action? Where's the accountability to fucking the New York Times, to the Washington Post, to CNN, to Fox News? Where's their accountability? Why is there not a major, the biggest class action in history against it? Phil Donahue was right. Phil Donahue was right. Phil Donahue was right. Fucking so my clothesline, I ain't putting nothing on it tonight. And this is the first time I think I've ever done a video with my clothesline empty. Always have something on there. Empty chairs. Oh boy. Sun goes down alone. Driving by your house. No one's home. So we had probably the most epic lightning storm I've ever seen right here. The Great Salt Lake's right here. I sit right here like bleachers and watch it. And it just blows my mind there's no birds. We got the most radical lightning storm I ever saw Saturday night. I stood right here for 3 hours and watched it. It blew my mind. I mean, just thousands of strikes right over here. So I was just reading today, there was 3 guys in a boat right there where the Bear River drops into the Great Salt Lake, and it struck them, killed one of them. 200 years ago, right now, on the Bear River, the said Bear River, Jim Bridger floated down, landed right there in the Great Salt Lake. And he came here to Ogden. Wasn't named Ogden. It was going to be named Bridger. Named our Peter Skeen Ogden, that fucking killer was never there. So I grew up right here. There were wigwams all right there. The Great Salt Lake's right there. That's the edge of the marsh. This mega welfare dairy creep that he never bled, and he's all gung-ho. His father, who lives right there, he never went. He never bled. His grandfather never fucking bled. But they got, you can see he's got a Trump flag flying right there. And he's fucking all gung-ho. Me and him's got into it over the years. I says, you're so gung-ho, why didn't you fucking join? Your dad didn't go. Your grandfather fucking dodged the draft in World War II. Yet you're all, these are the type of people that send our fucking sons and daughters to go fucking mass murder fucking innocent fucking people. I used to play in the wigwams right there. And I remember when I was about fucking 6, 7 years old. I come up here to my grandma. I mean, it was so beautiful down there. It was incredible. I'm like, I've been playing in those, Grandma. They look like people's houses. They are people's houses. What do you mean? People lived in those? Yeah. Who? The Shoshone. Who's the Shoshone? She told me the story. I was appalled. I'm like, we stole their fucking houses. I didn't. You didn't. What do you think they're doing in fucking the Middle East of Eden? It's fucking monsters. Pop, pop, oh, oppie, drop. Never in the history of mankind has any people, has any nation, has any military indiscretionally mass murder women and children. Till now. It revolts my soul. Herbert Hoover, August 7th, 1945. Pop, pop, oh, oppie, drop. They never stopped. And Ogay flew out of right there, Utah. What we did and went into, don't cross that Pell or go to North Korea and turn a kitchen. I used to wear my dad's dog tags after he died young. He was, that era. He was nuked to death at a test site. During the Iraq War, right, 2003, I had a bumper sticker on my car. Bush lied, soldiers died. I'm in a rally. Fucking, it was a guy jumped me because I had a sign. Hit me across the face with brass knuckles. I'm born with these scars across my face. He was a cop. Well, claimed he was a cop. He went to prison for 15 years. He got out. He don't live far from here. I went right over his house when he got out. Should have seen his eyes. I says, I forgive you. Just know that I forgive you. He just stared at me. Yeah, I don't think he knew what to say. He had a girl with him. I don't know who she was. I told her the story. 15 years in prison. I forgive you. You got wound up by Fox News, and I walked away. Haven't seen him since. Keep waiting to pick up his obituary in the paper. No birds, no jackrabbits, no muskrats. Sun goes down alone. Phil Donahue stood up to him and they fired him. But he has something the rest of you fucking mass murdering, fucking gung-ho, flag-waving media fucking will never have. All your fucking money. They blackballed him for the rest of his career, so what? He died with peace of mind. That's all I ever wanted. You slaughter the ecology, the birds. Post-Fukushima, it blows my mind out here. I've been here my whole life. I sit here in this time of night and identify how many species of birds. I'd be over 100 till Fukushima happened. I might get 3. I might get 3. No muskrats, no blue herons, no tundra swans, no trumpeter swans, no ducks, no geese, no fucking seagulls. The Great Salt Lake's right there. Sun goes down alone. No jackrabbits, just in fucking the last 13 years they've wiped out. No red-winged blackbirds, no yellow-headed fucking blackbirds, no songbirds. And we've gone along with this. Right there. Jim Bridger alive here too. And nobody's doing anything for it. Didn't take them long to slaughter this fucking place. It's Shoshone, I think about it every night. Every day of my life. I've thought about this every single fucking day of my life. Every day of my life. I think about where I live right here on this landscape that I know that the Shoshone lived right here for at least 18,000 years. What was it like here? At night you could see the stars. I heard the Big Dipper. Well, almost you can reach out and touch it. I think about it. What was it like living here with all the animals, the big mule deer? I used to love the jackrabbits. There was this fucking long, right here running in my yard. Last muskrat I saw was right there. There was one last blue heron the other night come flying over. Oh, and he landed right there in that tree for a minute. Just for a minute. Off he went. The lack of birds and the devastation to this ecology this century. I hear a few crickets once in a while. No screeching toads. No sun goes down alone. I wonder who they'll beat up on the fucking floor tonight. The one that beat up Dan Rather? Huh. We know what the riots turned into. Drunk on Trump vodka fucking psychos. 4 fucking mongrels who none of them ever bled. But it was the left that sold us down the river. James Carville, David Axelrod, Rahm Emanuel. The nuclear energy crime, those fuckers sold us down. Debbie Wasserman Schultz. We voted for Bernie. I wonder they're protesting in Chicago. Pop, pop, oh, I'll be dropped. They never stopped. I can't think of anything. The only thing czar scumbag Putin. Pop, pop, a whoppy drop. They never stop. Once you cross that parallel and turn North Korea into hell, no wonder they hate us. Went to Vietnam to kill the Viet Cong. Kissinger in Cambodia. Kissinger, Cambodia. Hell no, we won't go. Get piece of chance we did. We fought back. Fucking socialist country. Tax rate 99% on these fuckers. The war machine's over. It's done. Then the gift that keeps on giving, 9/11, they were Saudi imperialists. So we'll go off to Iraq and slaughter 2 million fucking people. I think it's the greatest war atrocity in history. You know, same thing, 1914, 2014, with their guns and their tanks. No, not the same old thing. They have depleted uranium, Bo Biden. Fuck, he won't even say nothing. It comes from a nuclear energy reactor. Which came first, the nuclear chicken or the nuclear egg? Fuck, they're one and the same fucking imperialist scum. Oligarchs make it rain in Ukraine. The only thing that creep Putin says right, Tsar Putin, the only thing he says correct. What are you talking about? We got a border skirmish going with our neighbors. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of that. You think those young men want to go in Russia? Come on, you're conscripted. Let's go. That fucking dirtbag. You guys went all the way around the world and slaughtered 2 million innocent fucking men, well, mostly women and children who never did anything to you. Trump gives the fucking child stabber a fucking Medal of Valor. Well, we just did the Middle East dividing. No birds. What a fucked up fucking century. Phil Donahue was right the whole time. But he's got something, all you fucking dirtbag, fucking New York Times, CNN, Operation Foxconn News, you war fucking mongering, flag waving, fucking military industrial fucking pigs. He's got peace of mind. You're not going to die with that. And everybody who's lost a loved one or the loved ones, you come home, the whole thing, TIMSHEL. They got conned. It's not TIMSHEL. TIMSHEL's a Hebrew word. In the Old Testament, thou mayest means men are responsible for their actions. 18-year-olds are not men. She said, Kevin, he was 18. He's not a man. I said, yeah, the brain doesn't fucking mature till 27. We did it. And I says, did you do it? No, my husband, fucking, our church, our fucking leaders, our neighborhood, our whole fucking place. Yeah. I said, well, that's the blood's on their hands. We can't take it back. The Middle East of Eden. Stay tuned.